Maxime Bernier's People's Party is on the march, setting up riding associations in many areas of Montreal. Several are already up and running, and we're about to speak to a volunteer regional organizer who's helped to set up associations in NDG Westmount and Ahuntsic Cartierville. That was in the last week or so. And he has just himself at least 6 planned for the West End and the West Island in the next weeks. Now, the MP for Beauce, Maxime Bernier, former Conservative leadership candidate, you'll remember, slammed the door on the Conservative Party in August, just before the party's convention, saying he had come to realize over the past year that the party is, quote, too intellectually and morally corrupt to be reformed. At the time, the pundit said a party of one would not go far. But the People's Party is now up and running in several areas across the country with a view to presenting a candidate in every one of the country's 338 ridings in time for the election planned for next October. There is a poll this morning in Le Soleil by Main Street that has the party running at about 5% support in Quebec. Live in the Daybreak studio which is considerable for a party that is still organizing. Live in the Daybreak studio is Raymond. He's the president of the People's Party Riding Association for Ahuntsic Cartierville. He is also a regional party organizer, a volunteer, helping set up other riding associations. Raymond, good morning. Thanks for coming in.
Good morning. Thanks for having me on your show.
Why did you want to get involved with the People's Party?
The ideas. I actually joined the Conservative Party at the time of the leadership race, and I was never involved in federal politics before. I actually historically voted Liberal, and but when Maxime Bernier came into the race, I was like, this is our guy. I've got to help him win. So I joined the Conservative Party at that time.
Which of his ideas really were speaking to you?
Number one, free market. I mean, that's the creation of wealth is the one thing that has, I mean, you look at technological advances, you look at what has made us rich as a society is not the redistribution of wealth, but the creation of wealth. And that's what he represents to me.
Okay, and so in terms of policies and what that would look differently from what the Conservative Party is proposing or what exists today, what would you like to see change, or what do you think the party will do differently?
For starters, I mean, the elephant in the room was always supply management, and that was the main reason why Monsieur Bernier left.
He left taking off the set price, the quota system for milk and chicken and eggs and that sort of thing. That's the number one thing for you.
It was one of the reasons, a big reason, that if you got to get on your knees for the dairy lobby, what are you going to do in front of the bankers? What are you going to do in front of any other lobby that comes up? So as a principle, I believe in the free market. And I also believe in small businesses. I believe in cutting red tape. I believe in less taxes. And I do not believe in subsidizing multinationals. And that's what Maxime Bernier is all about. You
met him, I think.
Oh, sure. Of course.
What was that like?
Well, he's a very nice person, very polite, but also he's all business. He's very focused. He knows what he wants, and he's got a plan.
So there are riding associations now set up in NDG Westmount and Ahuntsic Cartierville. You're directly involved in both of those, but you're on the board of the Ahuntsic Cartierville one. What's it been like at those meetings? What's the turnout been like? Who's showing up? Can you describe it for us?
Very surprising in terms of how many people show up. Look, it was about 15 people in each who had the right to vote. I was involved with the Conservative Party before I was the president of the association in Ahuntsic Cartierville. 9 months ago, we had our meeting. 4 people showed up, me included.
Oh, so you've flipped.
Oh, yeah.
From being the Conservative riding association president to now being People's Party.
Yes, and literally on our first meeting at the People's Party, 15 people plus guests.
More than when you were Conservative.
4 times more. And let me tell you, a great diversity of people. I mean, I put the pictures up on Twitter, on my Twitter feed. You have men, you have women, you have a lot of young people. And you know, as an organizer, And also, I mean, if I could say this, ethnically diverse. I mean, from immigrant background like me, and but that's what we're hearing all across Canada. I'm in touch with all the other organizers, and we're seeing a lot of young people, a lot of people coming from diversity, and it's great. It's actually very surprising.
You say you're from immigrant background. What's your background?
My parents immigrated separately. They met here, both from Egypt. I was born here.
Okay. What is your view on Maxime Bernier's stance on what he calls extreme multiculturalism? I'll just read a couple of his tweets from a couple months ago in August. Trudeau's extreme multiculturalism and cult of diversity will divide us into little tribes that have less and less in common apart from their dependence on government in Ottawa. These tribes become political clienteles to be bought with taxpayers' money and special privileges. Cultural balkanization brings distrust, social conflict, and potentially violence, as we are seeing everywhere. It's time we reverse this trend before the situation gets worse. More diversity will not be our strength. It will destroy what has made us such a great country. Did you sign up to that?
From a first immigrant perspective, when looking at my parents and their experience, what do people want? What do Canadians want? They want people who come in to blend in, be productive. You come in, don't become dependent on the state. The state is not your mother. We would like people to blend in, find work, and be productive in society. And in that regard, I think that's what Maxime Bernier is saying. He does not appreciate that we exalt our differences. He wants us to express your differences. I know who I am. I'm very comfortable with who I am, and I think Egyptian culture is great. But let's focus on what unites us as a people so that the country can move forward.
But so it's not wrong to be proud of your culture of origin and to embrace your culture of origin, in your view?
I think you should. I think I'm a Canadian before anything else. Canada's my country.
Okay, but is it okay to still be proud of your roots?
Sure.
Fiercely proud even. Is that okay?
Sure, you could be proud of you. Of course, the expression of your identity is one thing. Exalting our differences that's a whole other story.
So where's that line?
Well, let's focus on what unites us as a country.
But where's the bad thing about multiculturalism, in your view anyway? What's going wrong with it?
Multiculturalism is a great thing.
Well, that's not... Okay, what about extreme... Where is this... I'm just trying to understand...
Well, I'm not Maxime Bernier. You can ask him this question.
Well, it's your party. And the party is his ideas.
Sure, that's...
Right? There's no party manifesto. And he makes extreme multiculturalism very much a centerpiece of what he stands for. So how do you understand extreme multiculturalism?
I've never been for anything extreme. I'm a middle-of-the-road guy. I'm...
So who do you think he's referring to by extreme multiculturalism?
Well, I guess pandering to one lobby or another. I don't know what that... You know what? It's really about focusing on who we are as Canadians. That's his message.
The problem is that you have some people on the far right, people not like yourself, who are attracted to this kind of rhetoric because they have concern about the direction the country is going. They don't like the fact that there are other people from different backgrounds in the country. Those types of people are being attracted to Maxime Bernier's party. Do you
Well, that's not what I saw at our meetings. So we've had two, and I've had two personally. There's been, 50% of the ridings have been set up across Canada, and we've scheduled for the next 2 weeks. In Quebec, there's 78 ridings. We've got 75 of the 78 which are scheduled, if not done already, within, by December 5th. So, and my 8 are all going to be set up by my personal target, which was end of November.
So someone comes up...
I haven't seen, what you're talking about, I haven't seen it expressed.
Let me put it this way. Say someone comes up to you from a Hunsik, Cartierville, and says, I don't like multiculturalism. I think it's bad for the country. I think people who immigrate here really need to blend in first and foremost, and they shouldn't be talking about their cultures. What do you say to them? You say, this is the right party?
Well, that wasn't
for you?
Maxime Bernier's message. He didn't say we shouldn't talk about.
You're having a hard time telling us what his message was. What is?
No,
his
I'm
message?
not actually.
Well,
I'm
what
saying
is
we
it?
should focus on what unites us.
So, but what is
That was his
extreme
message.
what is extreme multiculturalism?
Ask him.
But
Ask
you're
him.
representing.
You know what? You're asking me. What would people do when they come into from a Huntsy-Cartierville and come talk to me?
Yeah.
I'll tell you what people have told me. I've had people come tell me, "I didn't vote last election." That's what one lady told me. I didn't vote, and because of Maxime Bernier, I want to come vote. He's changing the paradigm. That's what we're seeing. We're seeing people who were blasé, disgusted with politics, that 31 or 32% who didn't vote last election, they're coming to us. We're having liberals. I'm from a liberal background, even though I joined the Conservatives for Maxime.
Party Riding Association.
So I had people, my Huntsy-Cartierville meeting was run entirely in French. Westmount NDG was in English, and sure, we translated a bit in both.
But if there is someone from the far right,
I had
comes
people
up to
from
you,
the bloc come.
If someone comes up to you from, I don't know, the Wolf Pack, or I can't remember what they're called, and they say, I want to join your party, what do you say to them?
Well, listen, any racism or extremism is not condoned. It's not welcome, obviously. But, everybody has a right to vote, and that's electoral law. And if people want to vote, they'll vote.
So they're welcome if they want to.
Well, sir, anybody can vote for any party, whether it be the NDP or the Bloc or whoever.
But would you welcome a far right voter to vote?
Radical elements that are negative are not welcome. We do not welcome radical negative elements.
But you would welcome their vote.
Well, sir, Justin Trudeau welcomes their vote.
Does he?
Huh?
I don't think he does.
You don't?
I don't. No.
Whatever. Anybody? Do you know what people do when they're voting, ticking off in the voting booth?
Yeah, but he's not saying, go ahead and vote for me. He's not saying, far right people, you should vote for Justin Trudeau. I think he probably would say, don't vote for us.
You see, Maxime Bernier hasn't said that either.
Well, why not just say, if you're a far right person, this is not the right party for you, don't even vote for us?
Extreme views, extreme expressions, racism, anti-Semitism, none of this is welcome. I think that's been made pretty clear.
The Conservative Party worries that what's going to happen is you're going to split the vote, and it's already going to be tricky to defeat Justin Trudeau's Liberals because they're currently ahead in most of the polls. Is it not possible? You are definitely. So is it not possible that you're going to allow for a Trudeau majority again?
Oh, no, we're splitting the Liberal vote. We're splitting the Bloc vote. We're splitting I don't even want to talk about the NDP. They're sort of searching for themselves and who they are. But we're definitely taking votes from the Liberals, the Bloc, and the NDP. And I hope we take the lion's share of the Conservatives.
And what if that re-elects Justin Trudeau?
You know what? I left the Conservative Party because I followed good ideas. I think, I do not worship a person. Maxime Bernier has great ideas, and I followed his great ideas. I followed his great plan. I followed his economic plan. I followed also his social plan. I followed, the idea that we shouldn't be subsidizing multinationals. That's a big part of it too. And this is.
But at the end of the day,
I believe in a smaller government.
If it ends up with a Liberal majority the next time, will that have been a failure? Because you're stuck with another 4 years of Justin Trudeau?
Great ideas are never a failure.
So are you looking further ahead than if you don't win this time, maybe next time?
You know what? We're working towards a majority next elections, and we've got an incredible amount of talented people who have been coming to us.
Okay. Raymond IS, thanks very much for coming in.
Thank you very
much.
much.
Follow the progress. There are a number of different riding associations due to be set up in the next few weeks. Raymond
I've got Dorval, Lachine, LaSalle, Lac-Saint-Louis, Outremont, Saint-Laurent, Papineau, Laurier, Sainte-Marie, all by November 27th.
It's extremely impressive for a new party, the People's Party of Canada. Any thoughts? 514-566-9066.